Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here. We live, baby. We live here on the story of Will Baker-Sledd. The only place you can find it is right here on Bowie Films. Go ahead and hit subscribe for me. If you've been following the story, this very interesting, heartfelt, very tough to describe story, you know this is the last episode. We are here with my good friend Will Baker-Sledd. What's going on, Will?
Not much, man. Just got in from work.
I like it. The grind don't stop. You see, he just got in from work and he's still going on. We here making this great content for you guys. Once again, subscribe. This is the last episode of the story of Will Baker-Sledd. So you want to hit subscribe right now to stay tuned for next week. 10 p.m. is when we go live with a new season next week. So go ahead and hit subscribe. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I am pleased to present to you the only man who has a scalp drier than his elbows. He's known around the world by many names. They even got, some product with his name on it. My good friend, sad to say, Michael Bowie.
The irony that you put that up there, because you have been nothing but a pain this entire time. Hell, probably since the first season. And even last episode you were annoying to me. So I brought something just in case you get out of line, and it's just ironic because you had put that up there. I brought this just in case you get out of line. And Will, you know what this is, right?
Yeah.
Well, can you tell the people what this is?
It's a fly swatter.
Okay, so you keep it up, Manny, and you might get swatted, okay? And just in case, don't worry, I got some of my own, so we can do this game here, and I can make sure that you get sprayed down here.
Hell no!
Okay. I am inside of Detroit, and we do try and keep the cockroaches out, but Manny will allow you to stay in this episode. Will, it is Friday at 10. Every Friday we're here, and like Manny said, next Friday is going to be another big blast of a season. You guys want to stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Even at that, today being Friday at 10 o'clock with your last episode, tomorrow is your birthday, so I want to say happy early birthday to you, Will Baker-Sledd.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How old are you turning here, or is it a secret?
No, it's not a secret. I'm turning 38.
All right. Well, here we go, and we are going to jump right into it. I think last time that we started talking, had you already arrived at Los Angeles?
I don't remember. The last thing we talked about.
Well, let's just jump back to that
I
area.
remember.
Why is it that you moved to LA? What was the reason? Was it dance? Was there a different reason as to why you moved out there? What was the reason why you moved to LA, and why LA? Why did you pick LA?
Well, honestly, I didn't pick LA. After running my dance company for X amount of years, I started to feel as if I wanted something more than the company itself. Running a dance company, especially as large as mine was, it's very hard to get everybody on the same page. Not everybody looks at dance as being something they live and breathe. For some, it was just exercise. For some, it was a stress reliever. For some, they were on the same page as me. But trying to get everybody to be on the same page as far as wanting to continuing to grow as dancers, or wanting more out of a dance life or the dance world, that's where the complication started. So it got me in a position to say, do you want to kick everybody out and only start with those that are on the same page as you, and try to find more people that are on the same page as me? But that would take time. And I just decided like I needed something different. So I started applying for jobs actually everywhere. I had some interviews in Texas, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then none of those worked out. Also thought about moving to Atlanta. My living situation there didn't work out either. So a few of my dance crew members that were in Patchwork had already moved to LA. They were out here basically living their dream and doing what they wanted to do as far as dance is concerned, and motivated me and was like, well, you've taught me just about everything I know, and I'm out here making it, so you should come too. So that opportunity for me to come here, will even give you a place to stay. You don't even have to pay rent.
Oh shit.
So I kept that in the back of my mind, but still continued applying everywhere else and seeing what my chances were there, but none of it was coming through for me. So I just said, forget it. I'm going to LA. And 3 days later, 2 suitcases and nothing else, I was here.
That sounds a lot like Michael Bowie's story. Because Michael only took
I was gonna say.
First of all, don't.
No. I'm going to.
Michael, God damn it,
where's
Michael,
the flash water? You think this is a goddamn game, bitch? I said. Anyway, like I said, is that it does remind me a little bit of my story, because I moved out there. I sold all of my stuff, packed up my car with whatever I could fit in it, and drove 36 hours straight from Detroit to California nonstop. So your story sounds so much like mine on that grind.
Yeah, so one of my best friends drove from Benton Harbor to Ypsilanti in his work vehicle, unauthorized. Huh?
He made it out of Benton Harbor?
He drove from Benton Harbor to Ypsilanti in his work vehicle, unauthorized, 2.5 hours, and moved all of my shit back to his place, some to my mom's place in Grand Rapids at that time. And within 3 days after that, I was gone to LA.
Yeah. Well,
that's solid, because that drive ain't no hoe. That's a solid friend you got right there, Will. How long you been out in LA?
It'll be 6 years, December 13th.
December 13th, 6 years. God damn, that's crazy. Now, when you got out there, what was the first thing, like, you got out there and you said, because everybody knows LA. I ain't never been to LA, but I know a couple things I'd like to do if I ever got out there. What was the first thing that you did once you did touch down in LA? What was the first thing you did, other than unpack, I guess?
I arrived at LAX, and at the time I didn't have a car. My friends who were here from my dance crew, they didn't have a car either. So they told me to catch this bus called the Flyaway. It basically drops you off at different like boroughs of LA that was closer to them. So I got dropped off at Hollywood and Vine, like right in the heart of the Walk of Fame, Hollywood Boulevard. And they basically met me there. From there, we got on the train to North Hollywood, which is where my friend James, who's actually from Ypsilanti, Detroit too. And we carried my 2 suitcases down the street from the North Hollywood train station, and we were all in a studio apartment together.
Damn.
3 of us. And
yeah,
the very first thing we did was went to the club.
Okay. Hey. Can't blame you.
Went to the club, had drinks to welcome me to LA.
As you should.
And
as you should.
So were you somebody that gravitated, especially looking at one of your episodes about popularity? How was it getting to know people? I mean, did you meet anybody while you were out there immediately, probably in that first week, that were from there that you befriended, or was it just kind of you and the people that you knew when you got there?
It was me and the people that I knew when I first got here. But then that very same week, the first thing I did dance related was just saturated myself in dance classes. So every choreographer that I loved or heard about, I went to their classes. And that's the way to get gigs and things in New York. Mainly, I mean, not in New York, in LA is basically networking. So just being in the same classes with the greats and some of the people I consider to be greats and they didn't even consider themselves to be, we're all just training in classes under the top choreographers, and those choreographers pick us to be in their shows, whether it's a mainstream artist or case displaying their work, but using you as a body to do so. Well, and it was just amazing.
I asked you a question. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had asked the question because, like I said, your story is similar to mine. Even more so when you said that you stayed with a family friend or a friend rent-free, which I also did as well. And I think that's really the best. And I think the people out there understand how expensive it is and how rough it is out there to why they offer that up. And that's very kind on both ends. But the thing is you're from Michigan. I'm here from Michigan. You went out to California. I went out to California. So I know what that trip and that distance is like, to be far away from family and friends. And that's why I asked those questions, besides who you knew, what that was. For me, in my experience, I didn't know anybody. There was a guy that I gamed with, and come to find out, I knew he lived in California, but not in the same area. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I'm in Moreno Valley. Maybe one time we can meet up if you're not too far away. He's like, I live in Moreno Valley. So that worked out in our defense. But looking at the fact that you're far from family and friends, how did that take a toll on you? What was it like? Because for me, that's the farthest I've ever been away from all family and friends. So to me, it was tough. How did you deal with it? Was it tough?
It was definitely tough. So I'm really close to my family, even while staying in Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor. Every holiday I was driving back home, whether that was Grand Rapids or Ben Harbor, to visit them. So
you were once I got from California to visit them?
No. I'm saying while I was living in Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, I was always driving back.
Yeah.
So in California, I was always flying back home for holidays. So I would usually pick like the main holidays, like maybe Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, or Christmas, and alternate which one I'm going to go home for, but always wanted to go for all of them. It was because of the fact that I had people here from Michigan already. It was easier. So having the friends from home that were already like family, it did make the transition from Michigan to LA easier on me. But every chance I did get, I was going back home to visit.
As you should. I would too. What are some of the more on the weird? Because there's a lot of, how do I put this? I'm thinking of a cool way to say this. There's a lot of different stuff out in LA. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the more weird things that you've encountered in LA that you might not even hear about or see in Michigan? You know, like you mentioned earlier in some of the earlier episodes, you know, about you being around some of the guys in the streets in Benton Harbor. So what are some of these things that you're seeing in the streets of LA? Not saying you're in the streets of LA, but what are some of the weird things you see, things that you don't even really think about? Like, damn, LA is like that, or they got this in LA. You know what I'm saying?
I think the weirdest thing and most uncomfortable and hardest thing to experience is the homeless. It's so many homeless people in LA, and there are even some homeless people that don't even appear to be homeless, but they are. And it's the fact that some of these people have stories similar to me and Mike and didn't make it. And all they had left to turn to was surviving on the streets of LA. They came here with nothing like we did, and either didn't have the friends or the family to fall back on, and never made it back to where they came from. And seeing that's, and I feel like that's the most weirdest, craziest, and hardest thing to experience sometimes.
It's funny that you say that, just because when I went out there, I was young, probably 21, 22 years old, and I said, I will not come back. I will live on the streets. I will be homeless. And whatever it takes, I was going to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal of success. And for you to be out there 6 years, I'm jealous because I was out there 9 months, but I also was out there during the writer's strike, and I saw all the homeless things. And to me, it wasn't the life that I wanted to live, and that's why I chose to come back here. And should I have stayed? Would I have stayed? I don't know. That would it have been better? I don't know. But I know that I had to deal with a lot of struggles when I got there. Being that far away from family, being on my own, dealing with seeing what other people, because it's a competition. So many people are trying to make it out there, and somebody has to bag groceries, somebody has to dance the pole. Not everybody can be that famous celebrity that they want to be. So what were some of the struggles that you had to deal with and encounter within those first couple of years out there?
So the first couple of years and I say we as in my household. So the other two guys I live with, they were part of my dance crew in Ypsilanti, and they were already in LA before I came. But once I got here, the struggle didn't stop. So they were literally going from gig to survive. So sometime we were struggling to pay rent. Sometime we went without food. Neither one of us had cars. So the struggle was real. It did get to a point where I had to constantly go back and forth about going to dance classes versus going to a 9 to 5 to keep consistent money. And it's like some of the best opportunities and auditions were always happening between those 9 to 5 hours. And most of the jobs here do not accommodate you chasing your dream and will allow you to just leave work to go to an audition or take a day off because you have a performance or a rehearsal. They didn't care. So you're kind of forced to, I feel like everyone here that's doing something that they love has a struggle story or have struggled to the point where they couldn't even achieve what they came here for, or ended up homeless, or ended up back home, or still here, but kind of not really doing what they wanted to do, or doing it a smaller percentage of than what they would like. And I can also say, honestly, that's me too. And I don't know what would have happened if I chose to just chase dance 100% and not do a 9 to 5 at all. I don't even know if I would still be here. But it's hard. It's definitely a struggle. Most of the people I know that are originally from LA, to me, I think those are the ones that kind of get somewhere or get further than most of us that come from elsewhere, because they either have family to fall back on, or they're not really staying on their own. They kind of have more of a solid foundation or support system, I should say. Whereas for people like me and Mike, it wasn't the same.
So I asked you this in one of the earlier episodes. If you, at the viewers, if you haven't already, make sure you go watch the story of Will Baker-Sledd. So I've asked you this in the first episodes. I'm gonna ask you this now because I've never been to LA, but I know a little bit about LA, and my people is out in LA. Do you have Mexican friends now?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my real question though, for real, what about the popularity though? Because you said your boys was already out in LA. Were you popular in LA once you got there, or did you have to work up to it, or did you never get it?
I don't really want to say I'm definitely not as popular here as I was in Michigan, but I was surprised to know that people knew of me and of my dance company when I did get here. So going to some dance classes, and it's mainly because a lot of the people that came from the Midwest or the South, some of them have competed in the same major competitions we have, and they remembered our dance crew. And then I was always targeted as the light-skinned guy with dreads with big lips that knows how to dance. So people had never forgot my face. And when I first got out here, I still had dreads. So, and then some people remembered us from 106 in Park, which was a major platform to perform on. So it felt good I feel like that was when I finally gave myself my own flowers and said that you've done a good job and you should be proud. to come to LA where there's millions of people that do what you do, but somebody knows you that you don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, looking at the history of everything that you've done, back when you used to perform and at all of these different places and do all of these different gigs, and then to have the accomplishments to be on like 106 in Park. First of all, just what is your most memorable moment of the days before going? Is it that 106 in Park moment? Is there another moment that means the most to you, and if so, why? Out of all the things that you've done from the past.
I think the most rememberable moment out of my entire dance career, aside from 106 in Park, is auditioning for University of Michigan's dance program. Wow. And being rejected twice.
You said rejected?
Yes.
Rejection.
I think
it's funny that you say that. Sorry, not because you're off, but you and I, we just have a similar story, and so that's why you and I click so much. But like rejection for me, because you were talking about how you won all those different dance competitions, I never experienced rejection until I got to California. Okay, man, where's my fly swatter? This motherfucker thinks I'm playing. I will. All right, bitch. Tell me how that felt. Like, was that your first time being rejected? How did it make you feel?
So it was just the realization of how important it was to have a technical foundation of dance where you should had some type of professional or technical training outside of hip hop dance, whether that was ballet, modern, jazz, which are like three of the top most respected forms of dance. It was held against me mainly when it came to the decision of me being accepted into the dance program at University of Michigan, because what did work for me was that I was a male and that I was Black. So I had a lot of people rooting for me, a lot of people that helped me prepare that were also graduates of the University of Michigan dance program and knew what they were possibly looking for, what it would take. Right. And they weren't even giving up on me and constantly pushing me to go back and audition again. So every time I did go and they gave me my critiques, that's what we focused on for the next audition. And every time I went back, they always commended me for the improvements I made prior to the rejection. But then I feel like that was the most challenging time for me as a dancer and the biggest realization of what it really takes to be a professional dancer, regardless of how good I thought I was or other people thought I was. And that's something I've never forgotten. I think that was the reason why there was a different drive from me as far as being a dancer. And I took that and ran with it and kind of tried to instill that in my dance company and in an effort to prepare them for that.
Well, what I want to do is kind of, if you can allow me to, can I show footage just for the people to kind of see at home the skill? I can show to people, an actual set. People would have to actually see my set when I did my season. I mean, I showed a little bit of footage, but they didn't actually hear me perform. Can I show the people just a snippet of like you dancing back in the day?
Yeah, you can show them a snippet of it. A little bit that you will see. It's basically, for me, I was well-rounded when it came to dancing. Hence why we created the name of the company being called Patchwork. It was differentiating dance backgrounds being patched together to create one vision. So you saw all dance styles within one crew. Okay. So in these videos, you will see different styles of dance from me and some of the other members.
All right, well, let's check it out.
to me. Yeah, I'm talking boss, I ain't talking goonies. You money too short, you can't be talking to me. Yeah, I'm talking LeBron, we ballin' our family tree. Good music, drug dealing cousin, ain't nothing fucking with we. Me, turn that 62 to 125, 125 to a 250. 250 to a half a man, ain't nothing nobody can do with me. With me, dominoes, call me hobo in the bank.
Just looking at that footage, I see you with the braids. I'm like, is that Bob Marley's younger son? I'm looking at the footage and I say to myself, I'm like, is that Bob Marley's younger son? Who is that? And then I realize, because I haven't seen you in a long time without with the shorter haircut. I don't remember you with the braids, but yeah, that's very interesting. You are good, and so like, if you could have gone anywhere, like, what was the plan? What was the plan when you got there? Was it to enter as many competitions as possible? Like, what was the goal? What was the...
When I got to LA?
Yes. What
so once I got
of attack, like what you wanted to do, like obviously it
so
wasn't
my overall goal in LA was to go back to being a student. I was choreographer of my dance company and teaching them and giving that I wasn't receiving that back. As a dancer, you should always train, regardless of how good of a performer you are or choreographer you are. You should always take class from other choreographers and always go to different trainings. But it wasn't that much stuff offered either in Michigan. So my goal when I came to LA was to go back to being a student, train again, take some time just performing, but performing other people's work, not my own. And then eventually go back into the teaching spotlight, but also opening my own business. Something a little bit further than just having a local dance crew.
Right. Now that you've talked a little bit about what you've done in LA, and again, I urge you guys watching this, go watch the first few episodes of The Story of Will Baker-Sledd. Now that you've talked about what you've done in LA and you've talked about what you did in Michigan and throughout the country a little bit, this is a serious question. How does dance differentiate from the East to the West Coast? Because Michigan is more towards the East Coast, and we're influenced heavily on what happens in New York and their style of music per se. The South has their own thing. But how does dance differentiate from the East to the West Coast? Or is it the exact same thing? Because you just talked about you had some people who were graduates from U of M dance program who sort of gave you a hand and told you what certain people were looking for in the dancer. What is it that they were looking for? Something that you've never done before? How does dance differentiate from East to West Coast?
To be honest, it depends on the style. So when it comes to ballet, modern, jazz dance, that's like dance Bible, if I had to say. You can't change the concept. For example, a plie, it means to bend the knee. And that means the same thing, regardless of where you're located in the world. There's no different way to do it. And for that reason, that's the reason why ballet, modern, and jazz are considered to be dance forms that are taught in schools, because there's vocabulary with it. There's no certain way you can do it. It's only one way to do everything. Now, when it comes to hip hop is really creative. It's hip hop dance, I should say. It's very creative, and it's kind of, you make it your own. So it kind of depends on what are you trying to say? What is the energy you're giving? What is the story you're telling? And there is a little bit of difference when it comes to East and West Coast, but I would say the most different style of hip hop is in the South. The South kind of has a form of everything. How that started, I don't know, but going to school in Florida and college in Florida, I was able to experience a different form and style of hip hop. It was raw and raunchy, where it wasn't real like intricate and sharp movements, but the South just give you a complete body workout as far as hip hop dance, whereas East Coast and West Coast, it could be a little bit more structured and intricate and technical.
Okay. Did you get that, Michael? Did you write that down?
And what is there a specific part of all of these different kinds of styles that you want to lean towards, or did you want to be somebody that was good at all the different types of dance? You know, for me, looking at like my stand-up comedy career, I wanted to be fluent with one-liners and storytelling and dirty jokes. Like, I wanted to be fluent in all of those things, and so I wasn't just known as this one person with this one style. I mean, to me, that's what made me a great. So what I wanted to be. So is there a certain style that you wanted to stay to, or did you want to also be fluent in a lot of different styles of dance?
I loved hip hop the most, of course, but I did also understand to become, I don't want to say to become successful at dance, I would say to be more marketable. And it's easier for you to get jobs anywhere if you are well-rounded, if you can do all the styles, not just one. So that's what made me want to learn as much as I could and try to master all the styles. So yeah, there were some I didn't like as much, but it was just my respect for dance and my passion for it too. That's why I was willing to learn and put the time in to master all styles.
Is there a
which
style-
kind of reflect in is there a style?
Is there a style that you don't know as well that you wish that you were more fluent with, or that you were better at, or that you want to learn more of?
Ballet.
Okay. Why is that?
So ballet does amazing things for your body, and you really don't even realize what it's doing when you're doing it until you start to see the results. But I'm not a graceful dancer, to be honest, but just seeing the people that I saw that were really good at it, I always wish that I could move like them. Like, I learned all the terminology and how to do the moves, but it's different when it's different when you're trying to execute them. So that was one style of dance that I was okay at, and I wish I was better at.
So since this is the last episode of the story of Will Baker, we're talking about where you are now, right? And we know you're in LA, we get it. What about your relationship now? You've gave us a little bit here and there, but what can you tell me about your relationship now? You told us you're married now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm married now. Before we get to that, once I moved here, I was more focused on trying to find stability and make sure I wasn't back in Michigan. So my focus was getting a job and continuing to chase the dream and get training and all of that. Of course, along the way, you always
Hold on.
You're skipping.
Here we go. Will, are you there? Will, can you hear me?
We got you back. Go ahead.
Okay. So everyone knows when you're not trying to focus on any type of relationships or be involved with somebody, you always test it. So I did have some flings along the way and even tried dating seriously, and it didn't work out. It ended really fast. So Chris, who is my husband, this came about because I was seen at a club before and he had interest. Supposedly he hopped in my DMs on one of the dating apps and I ignored him. He also inquired about me through some friends. The friends never told me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Then eventually he reached out to me again on a dating app. And from there, we kept having conversations and decided to meet up on one of his lunch breaks, which was also the day before Valentine's Day. And we went to a bar in North Hollywood It's called El Tejano, which is still open right now. They have bomb margaritas. And that place turned into our meeting place for like a couple weeks, and he kind of started to catch feelings, I guess, and I did too. But he also had told me, which was something I said at the wedding, where he invited me over one day and told me, you can come over, but this time we're not doing no cuddling shit or nothing like that.
What does that mean? Because I'm still a kid. I'm still trying to learn.
Well,
I
well,
don't
Manny,
know.
there's
I
the
don't
birds,
know.
and then there's the bees, and then like when the birds,
Okay.
you know what? No, I'll tell you off air. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So then that was kind of when I knew that things were getting serious as far as feelings being involved, and it was happening fast, but trying to fight it. And eventually, after dating about almost a year, he actually proposed to me.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something right there? I don't want to be offensive or insensitive. How does that work? How do you decide who proposes to who?
You don't. You just do it.
Because like in a regular relationship, like I guess society expects the man to propose. I wouldn't mind a lady getting on her knees and proposing to me, but
Which has happened though, and it's not like it's never happened, but it's more popular with the man proposing.
Yeah, it's starting to become very popular with women proposing to men. But
here in Michigan, these thoughts don't make. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm about to. Woo! That's a different episode.
But when it comes to our world, the gays,
sure,
we don't have, well, at least from our relationship, we don't have the gender roles where one of us is the woman or the man, or one of us is the person that cooks and the other goes to work. It's kind of like we're two men and came together as men in one household, but we still hold it down as a man for ourselves and for each other. But as far as the proposal thing, I think it's just who wanted to seal the deal first, I guess.
Did you have that ideal in your head to propose to him eventually at some point, or was it shocking to you when he threw it out to the table to you?
It was shocking to me only because I was getting the vibe that he was scared to commit. And he was also still going through a phase of actually accepting himself as being a Black gay man and getting comfortable with dating another man too, especially publicly. So it was definitely shocking to me.
Okay. Now, I don't know if this is possible, but I just thought about it because we've never done it. When people watch the story of, they see myself and barely Manny because he's not tall enough to be seen on camera, but they see us two interviewing somebody else, and we never see other people. And just to know that you guys are living together, I was just curious, is Chris there maybe at some point inside the interview so that we can see the both of you guys on screen?
Chris, come
I
here.
never met Chris. I don't know Chris, so
yeah, I just thought that would be like a unique thing. We're talking about your story and when you met Chris and how that went down. And I don't know if he watches all the episodes, but for all the people that are watching, to kind of get both of you guys on camera, and maybe even hear a little bit from that experience, because we did learn about when you guys met. You like creeped around like, I don't want to be caught on camera.
He's been coming in and out the whole episode.
I saw one episode where he had peeked in. I was like, who the hell is that? Oh yeah. How are you?
I had to make sure I was looking all right to be on it for my debut on TV.
Right. He heard Chris. He's like, oh shit, let me get myself together.
Right. Chris, I'm Manny, co-host. Ignore Michael for a second. I want to make sure to ask you one question because it's something Michael just said. Are you a vivid watcher of the story Up? Are you vividly following the story Up? Be honest. You can be honest.
I am not. I didn't know about it until Will said something about it. So I didn't start watching until Will told me.
But you know his story and what he's been through, and we were just talking. I don't know if you heard him from the other room. We were talking about when you proposed to him, and he said he was very stunned by it. And I had asked him, like, did he have it in his gut at some point where he was going to propose to you? And so he had, like, I guess, hold on, let me not make things rough. Gave you the look. So, like, what made you decide to propose to him? And how did you do it?
What made me do it? I think we had talked about it like on and off, and hadn't really, like, we both knew we wanted to get married. Both had considered the idea of it. It was something that we, like I was saying, just had in conversation in passing. So I knew that the thought was there. Eventually, it was something that was going to happen. It's just a matter of when. I think reason for me actually popping the question was like, hey, it's in the moment. I know that I want to, spend the rest of my life with this person. We've been through good, through bad. So it's like, we know it's something that's for better, for worse. It's not always going to be the, glitz and glam type relationship. I don't know how to say it, but just what made me do it, I think it was just like spur. Like, I don't want to say spur of the moment, but I was in the moment, knew that I wanted it to happen. And I had the guts to do it. I'm more of somebody like to do something in the moment, right then, right there. Like he tells me all the time, I'm a last minute kind of guy. Had I wanted to go that route of trying to plan it out and like make it like the most special event, it probably would have never happened. Or if it did, it'd be like prolonged, like we're waiting and waiting and waiting, because if he didn't do it first and I'm like really trying to plan it out, it would have taken time, long time.
Now, Manny, I don't know if you have another question, but I had a kind of because that kind of leads me into that final wrap up of everything. Did you have another question?
I just want to know, are you also a dancer?
I mean, my dancing is more like, no.
Okay,
I'm not.
Right. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Thank you.
Right, we'll get less of Manny here. But that kind of brings me to that last question to kind of wrap it up. Now that I have both of you guys on here and we have talked about your journey through everything, Will, we have to look at where you're at now, but we have to also look at where you want to be. So looking at both of you guys here, whether it's career, whether it's relationship, whatever it may be, where do you want to be down the road, 5 years, 10 years from now?
So 5 years or 10 years from now, we're looking to purchase a home. Probably won't be in LA or California. I also do want to officially open my business. Like, I currently have the licensing and the LLC for it already, but just not knowing where we're going to be as far as purchasing a home. I don't want to start anything concrete here because I know we're not going to be here. But the goal is to purchase a home. For me personally, I do want to go back into doing something dance related. We're also thinking of having kids within like the next 2 to 5 years. So it's a lot on our plate as far as what we're planning and want to happen. As far as a timeline or an official plan, it's not there just yet.
Okay. And is there more to the plan individually on your own, Chris, that you want to add, that you have as goals down the road?
I think as a union, he said it right then and there. And as far as solo, just kind of advancing in my career, advancing in my education, really having something to fall back on for, when I do get older, we are older, just some type of backup plan. We're doing cool right now, but I'm always really thinking ahead and want to know what we're going to do 10 years from now. 15 years from now, 20 years from now. I don't want to work doing what I'm doing the rest of my life. So I need something to fall back on, and have my husband take care of me.
I mean, you guys, like Will said, give me just a second. It's like Will said, You guys are not like playing gender roles here, and you guys are a unit. You know what I'm saying? You guys are a unit. You guys are a team.
G-Unit. I'm sorry, I had to. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I had to.
And Chris, I don't know you, but I've gotten to know Will over the last couple of weeks. So, I wish both of you guys the best. And I know you guys got great things coming. I just wanted to say that. Michael, continue with your bullshit, please.
Well, on my bullshit, I just wanted to close out and say that I know that you guys said you both are looking to get a home. And hopefully you guys can get one of those little bottom things that the dogs go through to get in the house so that Mandy can come and visit. I don't know what they're called, but I'm just hoping that one day that could be arranged so that he can, bring his stuff and come over and stay a couple of nights and then see what it's like in LA, since he said he's never been there before. I want to thank both of you guys for being on the show. This has been a hell of a season. But before we get out of here, and I know we didn't get to it, we have some other footage. I kind of want to play it before we get out of here of you dancing. Do you have any way that you want to set up what we're about to see here?
I do feel like the next clips you're going to see is some of the climax moments for me as a dancer and for my company too. Also, it's still showcasing me being well-rounded in dance and different styles of hip hop. So enjoy.
All right, here it goes. And there it is, dancing by Will Baker-Sledd. But I will add, just before we get out of here, that I still will challenge you and I will destroy you, because you don't know how good I am with the moves, okay? Chris Brown ain't got shit on me, and you're on my shit list. One-on-one dance battle, you will get destroyed. Just know I'm really good.
Just know that I love battles.
Okay, well, I hope you love losing too, because both of them are headed your way.
Okay.
He's never lost. He's never lost, Michael. Did you get that?
Lost. Well, thank you both of you guys being here. Everybody for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell. Do all that jazz. Let us know how you guys feel. Next week, 10 o'clock Friday, it's going to go down. Another great season. One of the best. It's going to just get better and better as we go and progress here inside of the story of here on Bowie Films. Manny, like I said, I'll be over soon. Got some fly swatting to deal with. Chris, it was a pleasure meeting you officially. I know I saw you at the wedding, but we didn't really talk. So thank you for being on. Thank everybody for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.